Good morning, men and women. Today we are going to do the area of a circle, and there will be two small things, and then if the grade 8s want to continue, you can see how you work backwards using algebra to calculate the radius. That's only for the grade 8s. But anyhow, here we have two circles, and the title of the one is calculating the area of a circle when given the radius. So obviously I need to put a radius in there. Radius goes from the center point of the circle to the outside, and I'll make this 5 meters. Now we need a formula. There is a formula for calculating the area of a circle. An area of a circle, and I like to put A of a circle equals pi r squared. Remember that when pi and r are right beside each other, there is a multiplication symbol that is inferred, but we don't have to write it every time. Anyhow, we put what we know, and we know pi is always going to be 3.14, and we know that the radius of this circle is 5, and we have to square it. Now it's back to Bedmas. It's a good thing we did Bedmas in September because it's going to keep coming through all year. Some kids make a mistake and they multiply this 3.14 times 5 first because it comes first in the order. But we know from Bedmas that we have to do exponents first. So anyhow, the 3.14 will just stay there, and that will be 25. 5 times 5 is 25. Remember not to make the mistake of going 5 times 2 is 10, because 5 squared is 5 times itself. Anyhow, now we have 3.14 times 25, and that will leave us, with 78 decimal 5, 78 decimal 5 meters. Now because it's area, it's a squared unit when we're done expressing it. So that's all we have to do with that one. Anyhow, we'll do another one over here. The radius, I'll make it into a decimal number this time just to show you that it's no big deal. I'll make it 11.5 centimeters. We're going to start with our formula. Area of a circle equals pi times r squared. You can see I wrote it differently this time just to show you that it means exactly the same thing. There's the bell. 3.14 is what I'm substituting here for pi. And my radius is 11.5 squared. You have to do the squared first, so I'll just write 3.14. I don't have to keep putting the brackets in because that was just to show what I substituted. And 11.5 squared is, give me a second because I have to grab my calculator. 11.5 squared is 132 decimal 25. Now I multiply that by 3.14 times 3.14, and I get an answer of 415 decimal 26. What was my unit? My unit was centimeters squared. Circle it just so your teacher can find your answer. Once you know the formula, it's a straight substitution. Okay, so now that we know that, then we're going to look at the next part, and it's just like yesterday. What happens when they give you the diameter of a circle? So I'll give you the diameter here, and I'll say that the diameter in this case is 30 meters. Our formula does not change. Our formula is still area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So before you can even do anything here, you have to determine that this here, the 30 meters, is not what you need to do the formula. You have to figure out what the radius is. From past days' work, that you know that the radius should be half of the diameter. So they'll make that 15. So now we have enough information to do the question. 3.14 times 15 squared. We have to do the 15 squared first because that's what order of operation tells us. 15 times 15 is 225. And 225 times 3.14 is 706 decimal 5 meters squared. Circle your answer. One last one, and that'll be it for the grade 7s, and then the grade 8s can continue if they like, or if not, I'll pick this up tomorrow when I'm here. So there's my line, that's my diameter. I'm going to make it something even larger. I'll say 110 this time. Make it meters just because it's less to write. I always start with my formula. Area of a circle is pi times r squared. That's 3.14 times whatever the radius is, but I know that's not my radius. I have to take half of that in order to be talking about a radius. And if the diameter is 110, the radius must just be 55. So that'll be 55 squared, which is still quite a large number. We're not scared of large numbers. They're just numbers. 3.14 times 55 squared. So that's 55 times 55. Please be careful not to just multiply it by 2. Simple mistake, but happens far too often. Multiply that by 3.14, and my final answer is 9,498.5 meters squared. All right, grade 7 and 8, that's where you're starting today, and grade 8, you can continue if you like, or you can pick it up first thing tomorrow. All right, now grade 8. Now for some excitement. We're going to work ourselves backwards through this formula using algebra because it already gives us what the area is equal to, but we're going to want to determine what the radius is. It's a skill in mathematics to be able to manipulate your formulas frontwards and backwards and change what you're looking for and not have to have 5 different formulas. You just need one formula and be able to move it back and forth, and it's done by algebra. Anyhow, if you were told that the area is 422 meters squared, you would still start with a formula. So area of a circle equals pi times radius squared. Now you fill in what you know. And we know that the area of the circle is 422. And we know that pi is 3.14. And all we're left to determine is what the radius squared is. Now, don't worry about that squared sign for a second. Just pretend that was an r. If that was an r by itself, we've done this many, many times so far. And we know we have to isolate the radius, so the radius is by itself. And the only way to isolate it is to get rid of the 3.14. We also know that 3.14 is multiplying into the r, so the only way to get rid of it is to divide. And if we divide 3.14 by that side, we have to divide the other side by 3.14. Those two cross out. R squared, and now if I use my calculator here, and I say 422, and I divide it by 3.14, I'm going to get 134.39. So now I'm doing pretty good. What I have is r squared equals 134.39. That means two numbers, or a number multiplied by itself, is 134.39. But we don't know what number it is, because that's not an easy number. It's not the doubles that we were talking about. It's not 2 times 2, or 5 times 5, or 8 times 8. We know all those ones from our timetables. We don't know what times what is 134.39. So there is a new button on your calculator that you're going to have to find. And in order to get rid of this squared symbol, we are going to take that number and find the square root of 134.39. There is a button on your calculator. When you punch it in, and you punch in 134.39, and then find that square root button, it'll tell you that if you multiply 11.59 by itself, and I know there's a few actual decimal numbers after that, but we only go to 2 decimals, that will equal your number. So that's how we get rid of it. You take the square root, and this question's done. It's just, everything is something you've done already this year until this step right here. And when you get to the step right here, you just put that number in a square root, and it's a button on your calculator. So here we go. We'll do one more, and then, like I said, we'll pick it up tomorrow on, which is Thursday. So I will do an area this time, and we'll call it, the area equals 585, oops, nope. I'm going to say the area is 58 meters. I was talking faster than I was moving. Here we go. So we start with our formula. Area of a circle is pi times radius squared. We fill in what we know. That's 58. This over here is 3.14, and we're multiplying it by r. I want to get radius by itself because that's what I'm trying to solve for. So I have to get rid of the 3.14. It was multiplying. We do the opposite operation, and that is division. 58 divided by 3.14 is 18.47. But that's r squared. Can't forget that. That means two numbers times itself, or a number times itself, is 18.47. We know in our heads that 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times 5 is 24. So this number is going to be a decimal number that is larger than 4 but less than 5. So if you were going to guess, you might say, oh, I don't know, 4.4, 4.5, somewhere in that line. Well, let's try it out. Remember, to get rid of this squared, we have to hit a button that we just learned today called a square root button. So you take the square root of 18.47, and that'll get you r. In this case, if I go 18.47 and I take the square root of it, it's 4.29. I was off a little bit. That's okay. It was a guess. So the radius is 4.29. All it takes is practice, men and women. I'm sure you're going to be awesome at it.